Hello, this is Peter Marzano back with another review, and I'm going to review another album today, and this time I'm going to look at another game-changing album as far as a different genre though, and I'm going to look at hip-hop today, and look at a late 90s classic that really defined the genre, not just the type of music itself, but along with the people who were acceptable to perform in this genre, and that would be none other than Eminem's major label debut of the Slim Shady LP. This album was definitely a hip-hop milestone, and Eminem really introduced some elements in this album that really were not seen in other rappers. And the lyrical complexity and his style of rhyming was something that really wasn't seen in the mainstream a lot. It had seen a little bit from Nas and maybe a little bit from Jay-Z as well, but Eminem was a guy to get popular with it and make a few big hits out of this album. It went 4 times platinum and peaked at 2 on the Billboard 200. So this was a huge hit, released in February of 1999. Like I said, it was his major label debut album. So let's look at some of the highlights and why this was a game-changing album. Now, first of all, just a little bit of background, as I hope you all know, Eminem is white. White people were really not acceptable in hip-hop before that. The only really mainstream white rappers before this were the Beastie Boys, and they had been popular by mixing rap with rock, and they had stayed in the mainstream for a little, but they were not main staples in the music industry. So Eminem was really the first person to take hip-hop to a new level and expose it to white people, because it wasn't something that a lot of white people were doing at the time or listening to. Eminem really exposed it out there and made a change with just this album. And he started off with, obviously, the lead single, the big hit, My Name Is, which I'm sure everybody knows. His name is Slim Shady. That hit lead single ended up coming out in around February 1999, around the time that the album was released. And that track itself charted quite high, and it ended up exposing him to the public, and this is where people were trying to see what type of guy this was, because lyrically he sounded very cartoony, he sounded a little maybe playful, but very sarcastic and cynical at the same time. And that's when people started going to the store and picking up this album, that's when they started to realize that he has some very complex and quite disturbing stuff on here. Now, this isn't as disturbing as his next album, where he really just goes completely crazy, but this album you see a lot of what he tries to depict as his alter ego, Slim Shady, somebody who's evil or whatever his depiction of that is, but it's shown in this album. You see, you go through every track. Obviously, My Name Is, that's a big hit. You go through Guilty Conscience featuring Dr. Dre. That was also a hit. He uses a single. And a lot of these songs are really funny. I mean, you listen to the lyrics, laugh at them, because it's something that you don't even think about, and it's just so out there that you have to laugh. But he shows so much lyrical complexity in the ways he rhymes and the way he figures out to put things together is what makes this really a fantastic album. Now, I think this is one of the best rap albums of the 1990s for sure. And like I said, it made a change in the music industry, especially in the genre, to expose this music to the vast majority of the population, especially who he was aiming at. And obviously, as I said before, the white population was really not that much exposed into hip-hop before this, or a few big hits. But after this, it started to become where people were starting to connect with Eminem just because of the superficial fact that they looked like him almost. So, while that seems a bit weird, it was something as simple as that made Eminem different. It made his music sound a little more real, and not trying to make this whole thing about skin color, but if you actually listen to the lyrics, he shows a lot of strange emotions in this. And one track I really want to point out is 97 Bonnie and Clyde, which, it's actually ironically the only track I think ever in his career where he does not swear. But listening to the lyrics, it is one of the most disturbing and deep tracks I've heard, especially out of Eminem. It's something that really stopped and made me think for a while, because he depicts something that is so ugly and vile that it's almost hard to listen to, but it seems so real because you can picture it in your mind. He uses the techniques of lyrical imagery, and it makes it so real, like you're feeling it's happening. And that, while he was completely insane, and I think that's something that's obvious, it's almost as if his complete insanity made this album genius. And not just that track, but a few other tracks on here. As the World Turns is another one where he just shows a lot of strange storytelling skills, stuff that's so out there and cartoony. Now, granted, this is something where he's trying to depict his alter ego and not his actual self, but Eminem exposes a lot of talent that he has as far as being able to convey these messages in such a realistic manner that you feel like you've seen it happen before. And that's what I really like about it. It's not something you necessarily want to play at a family party. If you're a parent, don't show it to your kids. This is something you might want to keep away from them. But overall, this is a fantastic album, and while it's so crazy, and while he's insane with everything that he puts in here, it's a hip-hop classic. It's nothing but true. He shows that he is a true lyrical genius in this album, and yeah, it makes him one of my personal favorites, and it makes it a milestone for the genre and for music in general, especially in the 1990s. So, as far as things I don't like about it, there's not a lot. If I had to point out a few things, there are a few tracks where Eminem starts to sound the same, like he's talking about the same stuff over and over again. But he presents it in a different manner to where it really doesn't feel that way. So my initial reaction to this album when I first listened to it was that it was stunning. I had an extremely positive reaction to it, and that's why I'm giving a positive review. I think it's a hip-hop classic. If you're a fan of rap music at all, or if you're trying to get into it for some reason, I definitely recommend this album. This is something you're definitely going to want to check out. This album is maybe not his magnum opus, his masterpiece, but it's definitely one of his best albums, and I think it's definitely worth listening to if you're a rap fan and haven't heard it, or if you're trying to get into the genre, as I said, then I definitely recommend it. As far as my ranking, I gotta give this one a 94 out of 100. I think it's an absolutely stunning album. I think he shows great ability within it. A few minor things that make it annoying when you're listening to it, but overall, it's outstanding, and I don't have much to complain about the Slim Shady LP. So I recommend it if you're trying to get into the genre, if you like it, and if not, then stay away from it if you don't like gross things. Yeah, so thank you for watching. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, leave any suggestions at the bottom, and yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll be back tomorrow with another review.